you there. Thank you for watching, and welcome to Forge Lines Forever. Today I have a 8v8 custom match here on the most amazing Noxus map generator. You heard that right. It is a 16-player game, so let's go ahead and introduce our teams and our players. Starting off with Team 1 in the Northeast, ending with Team 2 in the Southwest. Starting off with Team 1's frontline player, then working our way backwards, we have in lightest red pink, I make war on you. He is a Cybern for this match as a 2000 rated. To his northwest, we have in forest green, bannable offense as an Aeon. He is also a 2000 rated player. To his northwest, we have in Stitch Blue, the UEF commander of Will-O-Wisp. He is the highest rated player on Team 1, and in the game overall as a 2200 rated player. And last but not least, for Team 1 on the front line in Emerald Green is Oblila Cyberlance, or Obli for short. He is a 2000 rated player again in Emerald Green as a Cybern. Next door to him is another Cybern for Team 1. It is Strider in Imperial Gray as a 1500. To his east by southeast, we have in Batman Gray, Active Backlash as an Aeon as a 1200. And south of him in Glow in the Dark Green is Dukes as a UEF. He is a 1300. And the rear guard slot here for Team 1. Most likely at least one, if not at least two, I would presume, being an 8v8 game. He is Broby. He is an 1100. Again, a UEF as the rear guard air slot for Team 1. So for Team 1 side of the map, their layout in terms of faction count, they have 3 UEF, 3 Cyberns, 2 Aeon. Team 1 lacks the Seraphim faction and technology and all of those juicy bits that come with it. Starting off for Team 2's frontline players, and then going backward into their backline, I guess that's how that works. We have Buttons as an Aeon in Orange Color Orange as a 1700. To his southeast, we have in Tropical Ocean Blue is Thurnis Haley as a Cybern as an 1800. And tied for the highest rated player on his team, it is Mui as a Seraphim as a 2000 rated player in Regal Purple. To his next door neighbor southeast, it is Snog, the player with which he is tied with on his team for the highest rated. It is, again, Snog in Ruby Red as a Cybern. And next door to him, in his base, speaking of which, it is Lieutenant Lich as a Cybern as well, 1600 in Snow White. In Chevy Crimson to his west is the UEF player of Ferv. He is a 1500. To his north is Sai Zalman, already on his way to the middle of the map. He is a 1600 in Amethyst Purple. And last but not least, for Team 2 in the base of Sai Zalman is Kareem. He is a UEF as well in Royal Blue as a 1000 rated player. And again, at least one air player, if not two, I would presume, again, being an 8v8 game as it is. And this was submitted by one of you via my email down in the description and on the channel. So again, if you have a replay that you would like me to look at and possibly be casted on the channel, please send it to strategiclaunchreplays@gmail.com, and his name is in the description of the video. And for these 16 players, how much mass do they have to scoop up in terms of reclaim? Currently sitting at 50,000 mass in reclaim, which makes it a little bit shy, if my math is correct, at 2,500 mass, because 2,000 each would be 3,200. And then, oh no, it's a little bit over 3,000 mass. There we go. I can do math in my head, I promise. It's been a very long time since I cast in an 8v8, so I forget how the numbers divide and whatnot. And it is essentially just along this central line here. A lot of the map is taken up by the player's main bases. This is not a full 20 by 20, and I can't even zoom out all the way, which means it's roughly a 13 by 13. So a 13 by 13 sized game with 16 players. There's more players than there are kilometers on one side of the map or the other. So that is not a lot of room for our players to spread out. We already see some calm-on-calm action here in the middle of the map here between Bannable Offense on Team 1 and Thurnis Haley for Team 2. Of course, grabbing that little bit of a reclaim. Lots of water to hide comms in the middle as well as on the edges of the map, so I expect to see at least a few players hiding their comms and preventing any sort of easy intelligence, snipings, that sort of thing from the other side of the map. It's looking like it's going to be a 3v2 in favor of Team 1 on the west, a 2v1 most likely in the middle right here, but there are 2 comms inbound from Team 2 to help assist. And then in the southeast, it is a 3v 2 in favor of Team 2. So Team 1 has the lead in the north. Team 2 has the lead in the south. And immediate Team 1 has the lead, but there are 2 comms inbound, so most likely Team 2 will have the lead there. And everybody besides Team 1's Brobery is near the front lines. Again, he is the rear guard air slot player, so it just takes him a while to walk to the middle. But he's going to be out of the action. Looks like he's going south. It looks like it will be a tie engagement count at 3v3. More comm-on-comm action in the north between Team 1's Obli and Team 2's Sizolan. Lots of roar, lots of mantis, lots of nonsense. Of course, going for that bit of reclaim. Strider coming in to assist and actually cutting off possibly a retreat position here for Team 2's Amethyst Purple player of Sizolan. We do see, of course, Buttons is nearby. That will possibly disrupt that attempt. And in the middle, again, more action is occurring. Actually, 2 sets of actions are occurring between Active Backlash and Thurnis Haley and Bannable Defense versus Ferb and Kareem. So again, very interesting development here. Could be a 3v1 scenario if Thurnis Haley pops out of the water. I highly doubt he will, because of course in an 8v8 game like this, somebody's going to die early. It's just going to happen. There's no way that everybody lasts till 20 minutes, especially with this 2v1 engagement happening between Sizolan and Obli and Strider. We do see Buttons is nearby going for some more T1 units, but really needs to help his comm teammate out, because that is going to be a dead player on the western side. And it's not going to help things on that side of the map for Team 2, of course. And Sizolan has dropped below 500 hit points, 300 hit points. He's just going to take it and just throw it in Team 1's face. Obli has dropped into the red as well, just because of the explosion from Sizolan's commander. And Buttons is in the yellow. And we do see that that is the only kill so far. Of course, I had to zoom out just for a brief moment so I didn't miss anything. It looks like Buttons might be getting Obli's commander. There is a nice little Team 1 unit trying to deter incoming pathfinding from Buttons' commander. And I think Obli might just get away with 1,000 hit points due to Strider's interference and body blocking. Definitely a nice gesture there from Team 1 Strider, just to get his teammate back to more friendlier and safer territory. Upgrades have been starting here all around the map here for both teams, so they are going to the tech very, very quickly. We do see an upgrade has been started for Snog's commander in the east, and I wouldn't be surprised to see more upgrades starting here for Team 1 as the game progresses. And well, for Team 2, again, it is now an 8v7 game between Team 1 and Team 2 in favor of the northern team of Team 1. In the middle of the map, it looks like things have kind of cooled down for the most part, being that they're in the water. That kind of tends to be the thing. We do see that Bannable Offense is actually behind Team 2's commanders, in the sense that, you know, this is Team 1 side of the map, this is Team 2 side of the map, and technically behind. Thurnis Haley has now retreated back to the southern tip, and we do see an incoming comm of Dukes for holding position over here. Actually just going to go for reclaim, not really going after the comm that's next door to him, deciding to just get more mass, probably get T2 upgraded sooner rather than later, just that he can help out his team in later endeavors. T2 air facility online for the Snow White player of Lieutenant Lich. He was not one of the players that I thought would go for air early, but, you know, it is a nice thing to have. Another air upgrade has been built here for Kareem. T2 air online and T2 air online here for Team 1. So at least a 2v2, most likely 3v2 if the T2 upgrade for Ferv is any indication of that. So could be a little bit of a lead for Team 2 in the air department. Can that make the difference? Can that not make the difference? We'll just see how the game progresses. Team 2 is losing territory. Buttons has fallen back quite significantly, essentially back to his main base. His main base, of course, is very spread out. Production facility, main facility. Doesn't have T2 land online as of yet, but he might be working for that in a minute. He, of course, has to deal with technically 3 comms inbound from Team 1. The third one, of course, is just back there repping his hit points back up. Is he going for Nano? No, he went for T2, so instant boost in hit points, just to protect against any sort of easy snipes. Bannable Friends getting some T1 mexes online in Team 2's territory, getting reclaim at the same time. Very nice little dual purpose there. Of course, he has to be very, very cautious how long he sticks there, because the longer he's there, the worse it can get for him. Corsairs or other T2 fighter bombers could easily be built and wipe him out very, very easily. In the east, it's not as heated as the western side is. We do see that Snog is pushing in along the eastern side next to this little pond area, with a lot of Team 1 forces inbound from Imec New to intercept. Broby going for his gun upgrade as well, assisted by a nice little T1 engineer. We do see that Snog, of course, is going to be outnumbered quite significantly, but he does have gun and stealth on board. It's going to be a little bit harder for Team 1 to spot him, but once they do, they'll figure out where he is and intercept him. T2 is online for Mare, going for a little bit of PD creep. Good move there, considering there's a lot of Team 1 units. Easy to blitz them down. Looks like it's having a little bit of a time taking out that Mantis for some reason. Looks like it unleashed its full volley and just did not actually get any sort of hit markers with it. We do see that Vanderbilt Offense has retreated to the water. A couple of T1 torp launchers just to deter any sort of hiding in the pond for Team 2's comms, and Duke's going for his upgrade as well. Not looking good for Team 2 on this western side if you're rooting for them. Giant, not super giant hole, but it's definitely weak in terms of units, in terms of comms there, in terms of the everything. If all three players go for gun, and maybe one goes for shield or nano or something, they can easily push probably at least the third is Haley's base, knockout buttons. Of course, again, being careful how far they push in. T1 transport, it is T2 transport. Inbound with the comm of Lieutenant Lynch, inbound to assist defenses on the western side, so maybe I shouldn't count my chickens before they hatch. But in the east, Team 1's Amekwarnu defeated by Snog's gun comm. Very unfortunate there. Apologies for missing that. That's not water, says Amekwarnu. That's definitely water, but it's not as deep as he probably thought it was. So it looks like he was trying to hide, it looks like, and it just didn't work out in terms of how tall his comm was. Unfortunately, that is a... It's just a not missed opportunity. It sucks. He thought he was low enough. He wasn't low enough, and he died. It happens. Which means it is now a 7v7 game. And still, comms fighting in the water here between Snog and Brobery. Again, that is how short that little pond is. So it looks like he just thought it was a little bit lower. But his central, essentially where the middle of that explosion was, he's technically touching the water, but don't really know. Maybe he just thought it was lower than it actually was. But anyway, that's my only thinking. In the west, we see gun and stealth online here for Lieutenant Lynch. A couple of engineers trying to reclaim Oblee, retreating with Will-O-Wisp in tow. And it looks like a lot of those comms from the middle have now shifted westward, but it has given the middle of the map a little bit more vulnerability. Upgrades have been started for both these commanders. Both of them are the Aeon commanders for Team 1. One has gone for gun and now shield and range, speed/range. I'm assuming this one's going to go for speed next, and then maybe go for shield as well. So be so close to the Aeon Sniper Commander, just needs the advanced range on board. Team 1's front line has now been mostly solidified. We do see in the west, it's not looking like an exact diagonal. Of course, it's more of like a horizontal line. So Team 1 has a little bit more control over the western side, of course. Team 2 having a decent amount of control of the eastern side as well. So it is shaping up to be more of a, mostly a south view north engagement with a little bit of kind of, not angling, but alignment where Team 2's front line is here and Team 2's front line is here kind of thing versus it being diagonal sort of thing. We do see in the east, we just going for more protection, TMD, PD, probably would be beneficial of getting some shields online. We are seeing these forces inbound from Snog just slowly pick apart the remaining forces from Amekwarnu given over to Vanderbilt Offense. Probably, no, it's close enough. That's not a big deal. Maybe Dukes would benefit from having that base, but Vanderbilt Offense, it's, in terms of how far away he is in terms of the middle versus the east, is not that far. It's not like Oblee is trying to control units over here and he's constantly going back and forth. So APM isn't going to be really wasted in that regard. Bunch of Team 1 units inbound from Will-O-Wisp. He has 2-star veterancy as well on board. And active backlash moving in to just hang out with his teammates' forces. I almost thought he was on Team 2, but then I went, no, he's on Team 1. Ernest Haley, of course, trying to stick it out with a gun, but with a sensor package and range on board for active backlash, he did not go for the speed upgrade, so he's a little bit more utility versus offensive or defensive power. We do see that in the east. Vanderbilt Offense have shifted over here. He was in the middle, but I guess he decided against it and moved eastward. He probably just wants to shore up defenses over here, and that way he can focus most of his attention this way instead of middle and east. I do get that sort of transition there. 4 comms, 5 comms here for Team 2, 2 inbound from Team 1, and 2 inbound from Team 1 as well from the east and the north. 4 of the comms for Team 1 over here. Looks like only T2 on board here for Obli, but he is going to use some more PD, of course, slowly eating away at Team 2's territory on that western side. We do see that an attempt to go after Stonk's commander has been made, but not really pressing the issue, just keeping him essentially in the corner of the map. He's most likely going for Nano, not assisted, so it's going to take a little bit of time to get that. T2 Torp Bombers inbound to again try to deter that upgrade, which it is going to slowly eat away at the hit points. There is a Team 1 AA facility nearby. Definitely needs more of that support. But it does look like Team 1's Brobery is actually going to be surrounded by T2 forces. Team 2's forces, not T2 forces. Well, it is kind of true. It is T2, to be fair. So he has to be very careful how long he stays there, because it could be an easy turnaround and just wipe him off the board. More Torp Bombers inbound. Snog could be defeated by Torp Bombers at almost 14 minutes on the clock. We'll have to keep ourselves aware of that, which I will do that by splitting the screen so I don't actually forget about that on that side of the map. Lots of comms inbound, lots of nonsense going on. Of course and there he goes. It was looking not great, and another player dies in this engagement. Look like 2 players only died there. It's Buttons and Buttons and Kareem die in that mix, and Strider gets I don't know who exactly got the kill, but I'll call that a double kill for Team 1. And is now there, and there goes Snog. He does get defeated by those bombers. He just could not get out of the water in time. So it goes from a 7v7 to a 6v4. No, 6v4 in favor of Team 1. Does that seem right? Yeah, it's yeah. So Team 2 lost 3 players within a minute. That is not great, especially for APM. But the downside for Team 1 doing this is now you put more of the mass in fewer hands, which means they can be a little bit more efficient in getting the T3 upgrades very, very quickly in terms of mixes and other sort of farms. And that is not the... It just depends on how Team 1 responds. If they hold back, they eco up, they keep Team 2 at bay, the APM will favor them, of course, as time goes on. But if they continue the pressure, Team 2 is just going to build more mass, build more defenses, and just kind of just turtle up and then wait until they have enough mass and then just boom, run Team 1 over. So again, it is a delicate situation to be in for these 2 teams. It depends how one reacts to the other on how this game does progress. Of course, that's how it normally works, but especially in a scenario where 3 players eliminated one after the other, actually technically 4, but on one team, one after the other. But that was a nice double kill here from Team 1. Definitely worth it if you were able to kill 2 comms and you died yourself, and every player on your team did that. Eventually your team would win, just the fact that you're killing double the amount of players. Just math. You do see, of course, bannable fence over here. He's getting a little bit bombed by some Team 1 forces, but he does have some swift winds nearby, and they deal with those bombers quite easily. No concern there. Brobery does retreat a little bit back to friendly territory, so he doesn't get cornered. And that has really, again, slowed down the momentum, at least on the very east side. The mid-east position has been perfectly fine for a while, especially with Mue being like, I'm just going to go home now. I've been turned into a cow. I'm just going to go hide in some water and just spam out some T2, 3 forces. We do see bricks being produced in that facility and sniper bots. Love that combo. Would love to see more of those. I was going to say there is one here, but more of the T3 mobile shields online just to protect said sniper bots. It's a lot of investment for those things, and just without a lot of HP to protect them, it's kind of not a great scenario. We do see that they're trying to stop any sort of advance from Team 1 around this little pond section. Harbinger is the only unit that can't use the water to their advantage, and they'll get denied by some snipers and tickle cannons on that eastern side. The game is starting to slow down a little bit due to the fact, of course, there's less players. Less players means less actions. Less actions means less stuff is happening. So it's just kind of how the way that the world and the game works. On the western side, Team 1 has really not moved since the explosions that happened over here. They've let Team 2 kind of just sit there. while they start to eco up. Speaking of the ecos, of course, Team 1 at 830, Team 2 750. So Team 1 is in the lead for that. And the standout players, of course, are Obli at essentially 1 base. He's no, he has a secondary base. So he has 2 bases, and Will-O-Wisp has 1, but he's been really going for his upgrades very, very quickly. And, of course, everybody else is roughly below that. Team 2 standouts, of course, are Mui and Thurnus. Mui has at least 2 bases. Thurnus has at least 2 bases. So the eco definitely makes sense. And then Ferb is at 180. He jumped to 200. Looks like he possibly has some power issues that he will be sorting out here shortly. Units trying to use the western edge of the map to get around these comps, but Ferb's like, you didn't say the magic word, And like I said, the game has slowed down just a little bit. You would think in an 8v8 game, the game never slows down, but again, it's the whole 4 players died within a minute of each other, so the game kind of naturally slows down just to recoup. Missile outbound going for a Team 1 mech, so no huge loss for Mori. He's going to be annoyed about it, but he'll build TMD to protect any sort of other engagements that way. So again, if you lose a Team 1 mechs to realize you need to build some more TMD, that's not a bad idea. Now, if you lose a bunch of Team 1 mechs, that's a different story, but one isn't not really a concern. 1 Team 2 mechs isn't a huge concern. It's just annoying. No, that's the main thing. T3 missile launches on board here for Team 1's Will-O-Wisp. Of course, just keeping these units moving. The APM constantly being sucked up. So, again, Thurnus Haley isn't constantly just focused on other things. He has to constantly move these units and not looking elsewhere. Nice little game of distraction. In the eastern side of things, again, it's mostly Moi over here, but the Beetles are active. I don't know what Lich is going to do with them, but he could have them engaged. The only issue, of course, if Team 1 gets an Omni online, that kind of ruins the plan. So that the sooner that happens, the better. He could go for a snipe. I don't know if it'll be enough. Bannable Fence is rooted to the spot, going for his advanced range upgrade, I would presume. And those forces are just holding position to protect. It looks like they are not really going anywhere. It just looks like Lieutenant Lynch is going to fall back anyways. Looks like he's going to engage with his teammates' forces of a nice little Monkey Lord online from Moi. That's going to be a huge distraction. We do see Fire Beetles are inbound. They're going for, I guess, whatever they can at this point, and they really open things up, taking the shields offline, and of course forcing Bannable Offense to constantly be moving. And unfortunately, he has to cancel that upgrade because he'll be killed off by the Monkey Lord, and possibly, of course, assisted by the Fire Beetles. Dukes is going to be killed off as well. That's a double kill here. So the game went from a 6v6 to a 4v4 tied up game once again. So at 20 minutes, half of the players have been eliminated. That is a rough go of it here for Team 1 and Team 2, especially on this eastern side where there are no comms on the front line. And, of course, everybody has to resituate. Everything gets gifted over to Willow. So he gets a huge boost in eco, but of course, that's the wrong button. I didn't mean to push that. Of course, he has to deal with the APM and the incoming Monkey Lord inbound here from Moi. Very good move there. He saw the opportunity, he took the opportunity, and he's going to be huge dividends. Taking out P-Gens, taking out Mexes, taking out T2 land facilities. Really kneecapping Team 1's ability to fight on the eastern side. Look at this. And all these units are essentially starting to fan out to make sure they cover as much ground as possible. Some units go west, some units go north, a little bit of units go east, just to, again, to spread out and go. Nothing is standing here. ASF stacking over the top, protecting the gunships inbound for Obli. But again, T2 gunships aren't bad. They can be spammed up very quickly, but the AA on board the Monkey is definitely not to be underestimated in that regard, just because it can eventually take out T2 gunships. Now T3, no real issue. Monkey AA not really great with T2 gunships. T3, or sorry, with T3 gunships. T2, no issue. We do see more and more of them added here for Willow just to deal with it, and unfortunately I think he'll lose his T3 land headquarters right here. He does have a couple more of them, of course. He is UEF, so he has a backup. And it's not going to be, again, a huge loss, but the loss is going to be how long it takes him to get these units replaced, get the facilities replaced. The Monkey getting up to almost 2-star veterancy. More and more PD being built just to deter. Rank and veterancy now online here for that Monkey. 4-star vetted Monkey. It has done its job. It has paid for itself and then some. Oh, it does take out that T2 mech there. Gets a T3 mech there. Gets another T2 mech there. Another rank in veterancy. That thing has just really driven Team 1 back considerably. Look at this. A huge hole. So now this game has essentially gone from roughly a 50-50 kind of scenario in terms of map control to an almost 60-40. Again, a lot of the East is very open for conquering. But in terms of what Team 1 had versus what Team 1 has now, it is a huge, huge loss. That's a huge amount of eco just wiped off the board for Team 1. So again, they just have to get back there and get the reclaim and get those mexes back under their control. Or they just push Team 2 back on the western side. That also works. That's another one of those anything you can do, I can do better kind of scenarios. We haven't seen a lot of air engagements as of yet. A lot of the air players in this game really keeping their ASFs reserved in their main bases, not really pushing them out much, besides just, of course, some spy planes and maybe escorting a couple of gunships. Nothing too crazy. At 22 minutes on the clock here, Team 1 has lost 4 players. Team 2 has lost 4 players, so it is a 4v4 game here. Team 1 sitting at 1.2k, Team 2 sitting at 1.3k mass income, and that's, of course, mainly been driven by the huge loss over here to the east, and has given Team 2 the lead for a while. But let me know down in the comments who you think is going to currently win this game at 23 minutes. Thank you so very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Of course, if you haven't done so already, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and as always, thank you so much for watching to this point in the video. We do see the comm of Willow on a transport. Looks like he's going back home. The explosion happens in the southwest. Was that a Billy Nuke? No. Was that a Billy Nuke? Okay, land your comm. I want to see. And active backlash has been defeated by Merv. Not Merv, but Mui. Not Merv. And that's been driven by the fact that these bricks just kept going northward. I thought they retreated back home, but they kept pushing in, and they've taken out active backlash, and they're in the main base for Broby. Broby tries to get some Ravagers online. It will help. And those bricks could actually kill off Broby's commander, but looks like they're going to go for more economic and infrastructure damage. T3 Pigeon being taken offline for an air player. Not great. Colossus being built to the north. And it looks like due to the fact that the bricks went underneath the shielding, it kind of deterred the shots inbound. T3 mexes. I think one is going to be lost. Maybe a second one. It's going to be close, but I think 2 or maybe even 3. But there are some T2 PD nearby, so that should be dealt with quite nicely. But that was a nice grab here by Team 2's Mui. That is now a 4v3 game in favor of Team 2. And where is his commander? Yep, it was Willow. He had the Billy Nuke, and he took out almost an entire air grid all by his lonesome. That was a great snipe. So while Team 1 has lost a player and a chunk of an air grid, at least a small one, Team 2 has lost a huge chunk of one of their main air grids. Huge grab here by Willow. Another T3 mech taken offline. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 T3 mechs is taken offline. That's a lot of mass to lose. 130 something, I think, if my math is correct. More air grid being expanded upon by Willow. And Willow has 4 bases online. That's a lot of eco to handle. 600 mass per second. And Obli is at almost 500 at half the amount of bases. In the west, air fight does occur. Don't know what they were going after in terms of sniping, but looks like they just wanted to have a nice little air engagement. And it looks like it will be pretty much a tie. It's going to be close, but I think Team 2 might be just a little bit more than Team 1, just barely. Of course, it is 2 air players versus 1. Obli actually being the one to micro those. He has a smaller air facility than Willow. Willow looks like he's going for some Coronas. He is going for ASFs. I do, of course, see him producing some Restorers as well. Another explosion now in the east. Looks like that is another Willow Billy Nuke, because that's the only player that would have a Billy Nuke as of now. Wow. That... Is it just me? Or does it feel like the range on that Billy Nuke is really big? Maybe it's just because of the map size, but that seems incredibly... That's like half the map that he can hit. If he's in the middle of the map, he could hit essentially pretty much everything on the map. Maybe it's just a map size thing, but that is a huge range on board. Team 2 has one UEF player, so Ferv could do it, and Team 1 also has another UEF player, Bobri. So we could have 3 Billy Nuke players, and that could be the game for a little bit, is just launching mini nukes at one another. Bricks be Bricks with the crab support in the west here for Obley, pushing on that western side once again. Team 2 is, again, still a little bit weaker in terms of that defensive versus Team 1's offensive side of things. Another air fight occurs, and looks like Billy Nuke is inbound for the reclaim, trying to deny some of the mass dropped by that Colossus. There are some bricks nearby. Are there any loyalists here for Mare? He definitely needs some just to deter the incoming Billy Nuke and to just flip it on Team 1's head. That's always a nice thing to do. Just take the weapon of your opponent and flip it on its head. But it is going to land, it looks like. There it oh, nope, it doesn't snipe it entirely, but it does deny some mass, which again is better than nothing. It is unfortunate, though, at a minimum. Just more mass that Team 2 just doesn't get because of a Billy Nuke. Crab still holding strong, high in the green levels, so no real concern with dying ever so soonly. And an Omni taken offline means that Team 2 is blind on this western side. Not great news, especially with a Crab and a bunch of ASF running around. Another experimental inbound from Team 2. I saw a chicken nearby. Don't know where it went, but it was over here at some point. Looks like it's... I don't know where it went. I thought it was over here. Oh, it's over here. Never mind. It went west. Boy builds another experimental. That is a nice little crab online. Looks like he builds... Oh, no. He got the monkey, and then he built the crab. Okay. See, I don't really like that where... Yes, a player gains an experimental, but it's not a new one. It's just one that was already there that another player just hands over. I don't really like that the message pops up for that, but that's just my little 2 cents for that. Colossus dealing with the rest of those bricks. In on the west, more bricks over here with a crab escort. Again, another scenario where Team 2 is just needing more and more and more stuff on this western side. And again, Team 1's still trying to defend as much as they can. They really haven't gone and reclaimed a lot of this stuff. They're just... kind of, again, in this fluid state of dealing with Team 2's attacks, trying to keep Team 2 at bay by engaging at their side and allowing Team 1 to really build more defenses there. But again, it's just kind of a hard thing where do you attack, do you defend, do you let Team 2 grab more mexes that were technically yours? It's just a really weird, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of thing. We do see ASF's inbound to protect the gunships from Lieutenant Lich, and Colossus is gonna survive this. There's a lot of gunship support. There's a couple of bricks nearby, so maybe it'll actually shift. It's gonna be close for sure now that the bricks have been added to the mix. And that crab is now in the red. 13,000 hit points. Oh yeah, that should be fine with a 1-bedded Colossus. Even if the crab dies, it'll do a chunk of damage, of course, to the Colossus with the wreck. And there it goes with that. I think it's 8,000 damage for the wreck. It's going to be close to death, but even if Team 1 kills it off, it's still going to go to Team 2 in terms of reclaim. And even if Team 2's Colossus survives this, it's better to just reclaim it, get the mass, and then finish off the newly minted one that should be on the line here shortly. Then it just gets handed over a chicken. Lots of experimentals exchanging hands here in this game. Based on Team 2 side of the map, just to say, hey, I built this experimental, you can have it. Hey, here's this experimental I wasn't using. It's yours now. Very much sharing of the resources. There is a Monkey Lord to the east. Colossus diverted that way. And a crab going westward, so the Monkey Lord is the distraction. It looks like the Monkey Lord might be trying to go to the edge of the map and then north. Yep, that's exactly what's happening. Trying to exploit that eastern weakness once again. Lots of Team 1 bombers inbound for that Megalith, and there should be some AA nearby, so that'll help with some annoying little bombers. We do see those lightning tanks in there. Very annoying unit to deal with. I think Flak would actually probably be a little bit better in this engagement because they're so tightly knitted together. There is a Billy Nuke in there, but I saw some loyalists. Are they going to redirect the missile? I think, yep, they did. They were able to grab it in time. And is Willow not moving? He's not moving, but he's building TMD. I think 2 is enough to deal with a return Billy Nuke. I think it's maybe 3. There is an artillery started for Willow as well up there. And... oh, they're trying to fire, but it's out of range. Oh, they get it. Okay. They can fire that high up. Baby Nuke lands in the west, so Ferv has gone for that tactic just to, again, poke at Team 1's defenses over there. And, again, saw the success of Willow and went, okay, well, that's on the table now. I'm going to do that. Anything you can do, I can do better kind of thing. Chicken has been defeated by the Crab. Crab gets some veterancy there. The Crab, if it doesn't move, is not going to feel good with that Ion Storm activating. Ooh. That's a lot of hit points that could have been protected had the Crab moved sooner. The Crab actually might be killed by the Ion Storm. That is not lucky here for Team 1. That's a huge loss. But, of course, there was a Crab nearby, so it would have been killed anyways. But it could have survived a little bit longer. In the east, engagement occurs once again. Billy Nuke going to land. Is there a Loyalist in the mix? There is one over there. And that is not what I wanted to do. There we go. But I don't think there's one on this eastern side, so this group of units will be taken out. Units are on the move, but there we go. Nice grab there here from Willow. Billy Nuke's being featured in a couple of casts back-to-back here. It's a great effect. The one from yesterday, oh, if you've seen the video, you know which one I'm talking about. Such a good Billy Nuke. Such a good one. It wasn't essentially the most crucial thing that I've ever seen, but man, did it save lives. I will tell you that. Crab is inbound, and there is some more T3 support inbound from the east. T3 Ravagers, just everything being thrown at this Crab. I don't think it's going to get any mileage. It will get a P-Gen, which is something. Another P-Gen taken out. It's 2 P-Gens, which not worth the mass cost for the Crab, but, you know, it's some power. It's something. Takes out a couple of more PD and Harbingers because of the crash damage. Willow should be perfectly fine on power, though, with an air grid like that. It's actually spilling into Broberry's section of the map. We do see more air expansion here for Team 1. Just spam, 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 spam. The air nuke online for Team 1. Love to see those things. Very, very precious, those nukes. And of course, they make my voice go hoarse, especially if I say kaboom like 30 times in a video. I don't see any big ticket items, except SMDs are being built around the map, so Team 2 definitely has some sort of inkling on what Team 1 is up to. Couple of bricks, traverse the water, take out a couple of mass storages. Will they take out the mechs itself? No. But with the mass storages gone, they do deny essentially a T2 ring mech. So, you know, there is some benefits to just taking out those mass storages. Another Billy Nuke outbound. Not really going to get any mileage out of that one, unfortunately. Just add to the darkness of the map, just coating it in just destruction. No more sand. This should be turned into glass with all the fiery explosions, with all the heat generated from those nukes. In the north, that artillery is now done. I was like, do not build one right next to one another. That would just be not the best decision. But he is going for the assisted P-Gen, so again, he's not just going to build a line of artillery like you do when you have a Paragon and you build Salvations. You literally just draw a line of Salvations and go, that's good enough. Because it'd be easier to just build that with a Paragon than trying to build all the P-Gens. It's just easier. It's easier on the APM and whatnot, especially at that stage in the game. A Colossus and a Crab walk into a bar. And going to get a lot of mileage out of these because the Crab is over here. There's only one of them. Couple of bricks over here to the west. Nothing too much of a problem here for Team 2's experimentals. Bombers inbound. Not really going to get any mileage out of those. Looks like they're trying to deny Reclaim, Colossus, and Crab Wreck. Actually, there's 2 Crab Wrecks and 2 more Crabs inbound. Team 2 really pumping out those T4 experimental Crabs, those megaliths. See, how is the backline looking? Air grid, and air grid. I do love how there's a main one and there's secondary ones, just so that if there's a cascade on this one, there's still air power that can be deployed. Artillery has been thought about for Ferv. I don't know why I keep saying everybody's name wrong, but Satellite is under threat from artillery from Team 1. Another Billy Nuke lands, and no, it's not Billy Nuke. That is Thurnis Haley killing off Oblee. The experimentals just went for the comm, and they got him. So at 33 minutes on the clock, Team 2 is now at a 2-1 advantage in the comms left alive game. 2 comms for Team 1, 4 comms for Team 2 left alive. And now Willow gains control of everything to the west of his main base and then some. We have Broby at 280 mass per second. Willow at 1.4k mass per second. outproducing almost the entirety of Team 2. Of course, Lieutenant Lynch doesn't have a lot of mass going for him. I think he's just going for, teleporter. Yeah, he's going for teleporter. So he's going to teleport in, maybe get an air grid, maybe get a comm, maybe go for I think the biggest threat is the nuke, especially with one loaded right now. Obviously, Team 2 doesn't know that. But nuke would be the first target, then the artillery, and then a comm, I think would be the line of succession there. How's the artillery going for Team 2? Well, the satellite has been taken out by Team 1, so they don't have to worry about that. Definitely unfortunate for Team 2. But, hey, one satellite isn't a big deal. 4, 5, 8 satellites, that's a big deal. And whenever I say big deal, I can always think about the line from that Star Wars movie, okay, big deal. That's probably one of the only good lines from that one movie. It's the best out of the sequel trilogy, which will tell you which one it is. But anyway, I think most people know my thoughts on the sequel trilogy by now, so no issue. No lost love there from me, at least. Again, mainly missed opportunities, I think, in my opinion, was the theme of that trilogy. My opinion, of course. In the West, bricks are inbound. And again, with the death of Oblee, he's not microing things on the front line anymore, which means it's going to be slowly eroding away for Team 1. And Team 1's goal is probably just going after the comm that's in the middle. He went for artillery. He did not go for nuke. Lieutenant Lynch is defeated, but he did get an artillery, so that's something. And he kills off some P-gens, diverts Team 1's attention for a little bit. But Team 2's got to know about that. Yeah, they know about the nuke. I just don't think they... I don't know. I feel like the nuke would have been a better target. You would have even gotten an air grid with it as well. Nuke is outbound. First one of the game. It's going to land short. Point defense nukage is coming online. Both of these crabs are not going to feel good. Nice leading of the shot here from Willow. It is going to grab the crabs. And that crab might be close to death because of the bricks coming in to assist. Here comes the nuke. Going to be a nice little explosion there. Kaboom! Almost kills off the megalith. 15,000 hit points remaining. This one drops to about 50% of his hit points. And T1 bombers, that should be enough to finish off the job. It's the fire that's really dropping the hit points. There it goes. With the napalm, whatever you want to call it. We have some T3 whalers inbound to assist with that second crab as well. So both those crabs will be denied by Team 1. All that reclaim will most likely go to Team 1, I think, just because it's that far forward. But the crab just going for more engineers, I guess. Don't really know what its target is. Looks like it's going for more land facilities now. And it's actually able to hit 2 of them at the same time because its shots kind of spread out a little bit. So the western side, like I said, is collapsing, but it's not collapsing as fast as it was going to if those crabs were going to continue to exist. Team 2 is looking very strong, though. Look at how just far spread out Moi's stuff is. And that's mainly been driven by the fact that, of course, this section of the map is mainly a very widespread affair, while the western side is very kind of knitted together in terms of main mass, or main base mass. There we go. Don't know why I couldn't say that. Artillery has been, like I said, started by Willow. Confusing players and teams and whatnot at this point. Ferv. It is a -1 game at this point. It tells you how taxing this game is probably for these players. And more Billy Nukes landing all the time, really keeping that land force at bay. Team 1, do you have any bigger ticket items? Satellite. And of course, the nuke is still going. Killed off 33,000 mass, so definitely worth the nuke, of course. It's just one satellite is going to be enough. Another artillery has been restarted by Team 1. It's going to be very much a defend kind of game. Bricks have finally been dealt with, but look at the wreckage that they've been leaving in their wake. Team 2 is taking advantage, especially on the eastern side, which, again, once that one push happened from Moi, Team 1 was not able to reclaim a lot of those facilities and a lot of that mass extractor locations. They've been just kind of denied that mass for a while. Team 2 has been in the lead pretty much ever since then in the mass generation game. There is a nuke online here for Team 2. Love to see it. We do see... Oh, I thought I saw something spicy, but it was not. Oh, well, there is 2 artilleries planned, and I do like how they are spread out. They're a little bit further away from one another, so you have some overlap with shielding. Love to see that. And they're not, again, cascadable because they're far enough away from one another, so that's always nice. Artillery satellite has been restarted and now rebuilt for Ferv. Love to see that. Like the shield impression here. Makes me think somebody's going to build something there. And really, there's nothing else. Both of these players not really building big ticket items. I feel like one team would definitely benefit from that. Air fight will occur. Drop this game to negative tomb speed. And that is just not great. Oh, it's... Oh. Game struggling just a tiny bit. I think Team 1 will have this, though. I don't know. It just depends, because if those gunships are going to be a distraction, it might give Brobery the win in the air fight, and that's the main goal, is keep the gunships away. The gunships will be attacked, and all of the remaining ASFs from Ferv movement to intercept, but it's not enough. A chunk of them, at a minimum, will survive, if not most of them, or all of them. And we do see those gunships are now undeterrable. It looks like they're going to go after the artillery from Team 2's Ferv. Nuke has been spotted by Team 1, and Boo Nukes land on the top of those forces to the east from Mori. And it does look like Team 2's player of Lieutenant Lich has been, actually, no, he's already dead. Thurnis has been killed, and is now a 2v2 game here. No advantages one way or the other now in terms of APM, in terms of number of players left. There is some flak, some AA being built just as fast as they can. Looks like the artillery will survive, so no real issues there, but they did get a kill. Will that benefit Team 1? It might. Problem is, like I said, is that every player that dies, besides the last player, that's more mass going into somebody else's pocket. So now we have Mori sitting at 1.3k mass income for his team, and 3 Colossi versus 4 crabs. Gonna go with the crabs. They may get one of the crabs, those Colossi, but I really don't think so. There's another one inbound, but it's too far away to engage. Ferv builds an experimental unit. Probably a crab or something. There's another crab in this mix. I missed that one, so 5. Yeah, it's not gonna favor Team 1 in any way at that point. Maybe another satellite possibly here for Team 2's Ferv. He's doing a pretty good job, of course, of just keeping his air power sustainable and not letting it fall below replacement, essentially. That huge air fight definitely wasn't great for him, but because those ASS from Team 1 sat there for a while, the number in terms of advantages of, it's not like 50, 200 ahead or 150 ahead, like 45, not 45, like 25 or so ASFs. Now, sending him in bit by bit, not the best idea. There are 28 ASFs ahead, so again, nothing very damaging. There are some ASFs online. Oh, okay. Well, I didn't notice that many from Willow, so Team 1 is in the lead for not mass control, but air control. Man, just struggling. Must be all the players that are just messing with my brain at this point. And the crabs, unfortunately, just don't have AA. They have some, but it's not enough. The Whalers are probably going to get one of them, if not maybe the weaker one over there. And it has stopped the assault. Engineers already on the case to scoop up reclaim. Team 1 needs it, and Team 2 needs it. Everybody needs it. Another shield is being built. Emissary is online. And artillery trying to take out the air grid. It looks like satellite over top. That's going to help keep Team 2 abreast of what Team 1's up to. And second artillery has now been thought about here for Ferv. And this artillery for Mui is at 25% and above. What? Oh, thought that was a YOLO. It was not. I got very excited for 2 seconds and then got very sad. And just a lot of zappers, a lot of defenses online here for Team. Oh, that's a lot. That's because of Willow's constant Billy nuking. 74 zappers, a decent chunk of AA. The ASF really have not been over on this eastern side besides just protecting the gunships. They haven't engaged over here. They've only been over here. That's probably due to the fact that there's not as much AA over here. There's a group of T1s. There's some TMD. There's some more flak back here. And there is more T3 flares, those SAM sites, but they're not right here in this base. They're mainly back here. But again, another group of forces outbound from FAF pushing that western angle. It's just not going super well for Team 1 on the land front. They're keeping Team 2 back, but it's just diminishing returns at this point. They're going for artillery, they're going for satellites, they're going for nukes, they're going for those items that will sustain them long term, but they really need to launch that. If this nuke launches and hits this group of units, that could be enough to buy them enough time to maybe build another artillery piece. But there's already an artillery piece raining in on this emissary position, and they still have to deal with the one being built here and the other one being built here. Looks like the artillery has broken through a little bit for Team 1. It's taken out a chunk of the PGen, so it's reduced the fire rate on that Duke. It severely took out its hit points as well. Satellite online for Brobery, so again, using that UAV tech to constantly keep pressure on the shields. But Team 2 has a secondary artillery site started, and another one going to be built after that. So they'll have 2 artillery, and they have a nuke, and they have 2 nukes soon to be loaded. And they have another artillery over here. So 1 artillery, 2 artillery, 3 artillery for Team 2. And not going good for the crabs over there. So while the crabs are dying by the 1s and the 2s, the artillery being homegrown by the 1s and the 2s as well. And I don't see SMDs. Looks like that is the target of that crab, targeting that SMD right there. That is going to be a devastating loss for Team 1. There is a backup SMD here. 1's loaded, backup SMD that has 0 loaded. So if Team 2 fires both of the nukes at this location, it will deprive Team 1 of an artillery piece and a chunk of an air grid. And it looks like the nuke has now been launched. It's extending its nice little vertical claws or whatever the heck you want to call it. And it's launching a shot across the map. I heard some firing going on somewhere. I just couldn't figure out where that was coming from. And it's inbound. Is it going? It is going for the artillery. It will be shot down by that SMD. PGens being exposed. Not a good thing for artillery grids. Not at all. And the regular nuke will land first. The first of the game. Not the first of the game, but the first one to go after essentially structures. Kaboom! Counter nukage online for Team 1. That one almost has another one loaded as well. That one is going for this position that doesn't have SMD coverage as well. So they're going for soft targets, things that aren't really going to be that vital to either team's survival. But again, it opens the door for other things to engage. The only issue is Team 1 doesn't have as many defenses online over here as they do over here. So it's not as great. But it will kill a lot of the production here for Team 2 at a minimum. Kaboom! Will kill everything in that huge radius with the Colossus severely damaged. But the artillery has now started to break through. We saw the shields fall offline just briefly here for Willow. 43 minutes on the clock here. Ooh, takes out. I think it actually did impact the artillery because it's barely unshielded right there. That's what it kind of looked like. Artillery going to land right to the east. Take out nice little engineer just doing its job. But the artillery is pretty strong over here for Team 2. Team 1, they've taken out the Duke, though, here for Team 2, so that's a huge bonus. But a second artillery piece has been built for Moise, so one replaces the other one, and a third one soon to be online for him as well. He's using those Seraphim shields to great effect. He does have a couple of Cyberns in there, but there's a lot of Seraphim, and he's building more all the time. That's really going to just deter any sort of artillery piece from any landing anything close to a devastating shot. Shields around this artillery piece have now been weakened, and more shielding has actually been taken off line. You can see the width of as the emitter comes online, probably 3 seconds sooner, and it would have been fine. Crabs are inbound. Gunships are being called forth. The crab, that one has very low HP. This one is going to be the first target. But this one is pretty close to the air grid here for Brobery. He's not doing super good if this continues. There's that crab. That crab is almost gone, but it gets a couple shots into it. Help its nice little brother out. Pigeon has been destroyed. Another one has started the reclaim process, but no, they're targeting the SMDs. That's the worst outcome here for Team 1. That SMD has one loaded. If Team 2 can take out another SMD before the crab is defeated, the shield comes online. That's enough to protect that SMD. But again, it only has one loaded, so it can only deter one missile. Team 2, I think they have 2 loaded again. They almost have 2 loaded again. That's what it is. Again, no game enders. Very, very weird to not see anybody go for any of those very big ticket items. Artillery has been rebuilt by FAF, so now 3 artillery pieces online. There was going to be 4, but yeah, that's not going to cut it. For Team 1, they're like, no, you can't have 4, only 3. Only 3 artillery pieces. Another one being built here by them. And that nuke will launch. Probably go to this position. Actually, no, it's going to shift westward, go for that nuke. It has a nuke loaded in its silo. At this point, you guys just launch it. It's either it wastes away in the silo or you take something out. The nuke is already halfway across the map. You got to fire it essentially immediately. Ooh, that's not great. It's getting pretty close. It takes a second for the nuke to fire, so if it doesn't pop out here shortly, that is a not great scenario here for Team 1. There it goes. Kaboom! Takes out 2 tiny air grids plus a nuke. Devastating nuke here for Team 2. 191,000 mass killed with that one, those 2 nukes. Huge, huge. Shields are crashing around the SMD. The SMD is being heavily assisted. And are they going to build more backup SMDs? I don't know. It would be a smart idea just to build one somewhere and just kind of have one just passively loading. The shields are still holding, but they are coming on and offline as they always do. Another artillery has been started by Mare. It's not down here. No. He's not going to put it there anymore. Again, no bigger ticket items for this game. Very minimal in terms of the T4 expansion in the structure department. No Mavors, no YOLOs, no Paragons, no Scathai. Very, very unfortunate to see. I mean, there are games that there are no game enders, and that's perfectly fine, but we always love to see those big ticket items. And shields are down. The SMD is the main target, of course. Another amount of emitters are down. Oh, the satellite does not kill off the SMD. The air grid, though, is slowly crumbling. 3 artillery shells landing almost in tandem with one another. Oh, you gotta assist the shields as well. Keep the shield grid online, at least the important shields. Oh, the SMD. Oh, it's being... Wow, look at this. It is actually being healed as fast as it is being shot at. But an artillery shell comes in and takes out most of the HP for it. That SMD is somehow still alive. I will admit the tenacity of that thing is very strong. But another shield is offline. Here comes an artillery. This could be it. This could be the end of the SMD. Yes, it is. The nuke is now open for business. The artillery from Team 1. Did they break through? Nope. Did they break through? Nope. Did they break through? Yes, they did take this artillery piece up, but there's still, again, more on the map. And the nuke, which they were now targeting, but... unfortunately, it's just not going to be enough. That might be the game-winning nuke here for Team 2. Because Team 1 just has 1 satellite and a couple of artillery pieces. Both of the remaining commanders for Team 1 in the northeastern pond. And that nuke is on a collision course. And there's that other SMD I mentioned that should be built, but it is not going to be loaded in time. Here comes the nuke. I wonder if an artillery piece has ever shot down a nuke, if that's ever possible. Kaboom! Kills off everything. Of course, the artillery pieces were the main threat. And Willow may or may not see the writing on the wall at this point. I mean, there's really nothing that they have left. A lot of ASFs, but that's not going to do much at this point. There goes Brobery. He's like, this game's over. I'm done. I'll at least gift everything to Willow. Willow will have everything else, but he's going to depart as well. And that is going to be the game here, folks. 48 minutes and 5 seconds on the clock. Sorry, 6 seconds on the clock. Team 2 wins this game. And MVP for me, I mean, Moy going for that run by on the eastern side, taking out a player. Nice move there. His push in to the eastern side as well. Huge. That was essentially the first start of Team One's ascension into victory, I think, because it gave a lot of room for him to work back here and not really be annoyed by Team One's forces. It gave them a lot of reclaim to scoop up, as well as, of course, knocked out a lot of mass income for Team One. Took out another player, of course, with that monkey run. Well, actually, it was the brick run here, and it was just so much pressure from the eastern side. Team One put a lot of defenses over here. Ferv did a really good job as well, just keeping Team One's attention over here on the western side. But I do think Moy, with the nuke, with the push on the eastern side earlier on, that was, I think, the two biggest elements that won Team 2 the game. So I think for that, Moy gets the MVP award, in my opinion, for this game. Thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. And as always, let me know how you felt about the match and my casting overall, and I will see all of you in the next one.